Hey guys, Altcoin Connoisseur here, back with another one. And I have two statements here on my screen, and I'd like to ask you which one would be the most well received by the general population, by the herd, which are a population of people who are typically wrong. A, oh my god, crypto is such a piece of garbage. Everything has been going down for years. I can't believe I fell for the scam again. I better sell what I have left and buy SpaceX. Or, yes, I feel bad right now and I'm down a lot. But evidence and sentiment, including my own feelings, tells me that we're close to the bottom. If I start DCAing in now, every dollar I invest could easily become 10 or more dollars in the future. Which one are most people thinking right now? It's definitely A. If I were to even suggest B to the vast majority of market participants, they would tell me that I'm full of shit, that I don't know what I'm talking about, that I am coping, and they would really no longer be interested in subscribing to my channel if they were to in the first place, which they probably wouldn't. Right? So we want to think the opposite of people. Yes, things have been going down for years, true, but in this video, I'm going to provide some evidence that the bottom is very close, and I believe that we should be very optimistic, and I think that we should actually be the most bullish when everybody is the most bearish. So let's take a look at our agenda for today, 6/19/26. It is Juneteenth. It is my favorite fake holiday of all time. But hey, I'll take the day off, whatever. So Anywho, I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube or anything, so we'll keep going. So first of all, we're going to take a leisurely stroll through the blood-stained streets. We're just going to check what's going on in CoinMarketCap, see what the vibes are overall, see what some of the prices of our favorite cryptos are at the moment. Then we're going to go into the lizard people charts for both BTC and ETH. I think this has been an underrated chart, and I don't see it featured in too many videos. However, it's been a pretty good predictor for me to at least gauge what might be happening in the short term and what could happen in the long term. So I'm going to go over that. Then three, everything in the market, everything in macro is lining up very well for us, but yet we aren't going up. So are we about to beach ball or bust? So when you hold a beach ball underwater and the deeper down you push it, the further up it pops up? Is that crypto right now, or is someone taking a knife to our beach ball and crypto is dead for the first time ever after it's been called dead hundreds, if not thousands of times before? We'll talk about that. And then finally, we're going to go over some evidences for bottoming in BTC, others, and then finally specific alts. So folks, I like to say that in my honest opinion, the bear market is not beginning, it's already happened. So I don't think we're going to get 4 more years of nothing. I don't think we're going to go a whole lot lower from here. And if we are going to go a little bit lower, like I just said, it's not much. But I think that the bottom is very close. So let's get into it. So let's go ahead and head over to CoinMarketCap. And let's take a little look. So we're getting Bitcoin having a little bit of a push up here to 63. Still down a percentage on the 24 hours. ETH 1700. I mean, anything super notable? Hyperliquid setting all-time highs. Let me see. Yeah, close to all-time highs. What else? I mean, nothing super crazy, right? Kind of more of the same old. Oh my gosh, poor AVAX. My goodness. Uniswap a little bit of a bid, but I've never seen Uniswap at $3 before. Polkadot still can't get $1 back. That's kind of hilarious. Render, okay, holding up pretty strong. Yeah, just the majority of these coins are just super cheap. Look at this one. So the other day I was telling you guys not to chase fancy things, and look at what happened to it. Maybe it's finding a bottom right here, but again, I don't know. Not something I'm too interested at this moment in time. Injective looking cheap. Fetch not doing anything. Oh my, poor VeChain has just been absolutely annihilated over the past few years. I don't know. Let's just take a look real quick. Let's go TradingView. Let's even just measure from the 2024 peak to now. What are we down percentage wise? Try to just get a rough estimate. See, we're around here. Try to get the current price if I can. We'll just go to there. A little bit above current price, right? We are down, what? 94% just from, what is that, January 25? Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. Will we come back? I mean, I think we're going to go up significantly. Are we going to set all-time highs again? I don't know. Would that be awesome? Yes, it would. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. Just very basement prices. Like think about if you had the opportunity to buy something like internet computer at $2. Let's see what else here. Pump Fund. I think Pump Fund will do well, especially when meme coin crazes come back at some point down the line. But it just keeps bleeding. Like imagine if you could buy Fetch at under 20 cents. I mean, buying VeChain right now. I know I said that it may or may not go back to all-time highs, but the potential returns here are just insane. Pudgy Penguins. This is a coin I like. Let's take a more simplistic view here. Yeah, so again, like near all-time lows. If you believe in something like this, I like the volatility to the upside and the downside. And it actually hasn't set new lows despite a lot of things in the market doing so. So it might not be a bad play. But yeah, just basement prices. So when we go back to this slide right here, I think you're going to be a lot better off feeling this way, feeling that the bottom's near, and imagining yourself making 10 or more dollars in the future for every dollar you put in versus this. Who the fuck is like selling down here? Why? What's the point of this? You know what I mean? You might as well wait. In all likelihood, we'll at least get in here, maybe even here. Who knows? Who knows where we'll go, right? But why sell in here? That makes zero sense to me. That's 0% logical. Anyways, that's really about it. Let's go to the liquidation heat map, or as I like to call it, the lizard people chart. Let's just refresh this real quick, see if you have any changes. Okay, so this is pretty cool. Before I refresh this, Bitcoin was hanging out in between these two liquidity ranges around 63,385 and 62,160. I think on the short term, it's not really too valuable to look at this because you always have a good amount of shorts and longs here, and Bitcoin generally likes to trade in between a defined range set by bands of liquidity. However, we can see here that it did poke above and it did take out this band right here, $44.5 million. And we're going to see what it's going to do next. Could go any direction. You do get a little bit of a better scope of what's going on as you go out in the time frame. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 1 week. So actually on my previous episode, I stated that we were building up a bunch of liquidity beneath and there's a distinct possibility we can head down. And when we backtest this theory, it definitely played out. The lizard people ate everything here. And I keep bringing this up, and some people may say, oh, altcoin, this is the only metric that you have for determining any sort of short-term price action. You're not utilizing relative strength index, Elliott wave, volume profiles, VWAP, whatever that is, right? But it's fairly reliable, and if there's one thing that you can count on in cryptocurrency or in markets in general, it's that the most wealthy people with the most skin in the game are going to work together to manipulate prices to take as much money as they can from the general retail investor. That's what this all is. That's what this is all about. This is a game in order to make money. So with that being said, I don't know why people keep feeding the lizard people. I mean, I guess maybe it can be profitable, you know, investing in something like Bitcoin with low leverage, so it's a little bit more difficult to get liquidated, but they're gonna come and find you, and they are gonna hunt you down. They're gonna Liam Neeson your ass when it comes to finding your liquidity. So let's go ahead and go to the 2 week. Yeah, there's a good amount below here. Pretty thick bands around the 60 area. So as badly as I do want us to go up, and up very quickly in the short term, I would highly suspect that they're going to take this. And again, use this as an opportunity. I know a lot of you are out of cash, and I'm getting low myself, but with our little drawdown last night during this thing, I did pick up just a small amount of some coins that I like. And then maybe I'll do it again with money that I'm willing to lose when we get down at these levels, which I say when. I think it's fairly likely that that's going to occur. Let's go on the 1 month, get a better idea. So now we're talking. This area right here is going to be a big area of resistance, but I feel like once we break it, we might just eat through all of this and keep pushing up and up and up and up and up. And another reason why I think they might grab this lower liquidity too, because I think that when they do this, it's going to make a lot of people think that it's over, that it's done, that a lot of these lower price targets that people are talking about, like 40K, 50K, I've even heard some in the 30s. It's going to make people think that Bitcoin's actually going to go there. And then I think what's going to occur from there is a lot of shorts are going to pile up, and then we can help rocket this thing through. So again, that's on the monthly. I think it's just going to be a situation where we've been so patient for so long, and we're just going to have to continue doing that. But there's good news though, right? When we go to the 3 month, we just keep seeing more and more liquidity piling up above, which is great. Let's go to the 6 month. Same thing, nothing too much to discuss. Again, we could leave this behind. There's not too much here. There's not a whole lot of incentive to go down over going up, but they like to grab as much as humanly possible. And I'd even look at it as bullish if we were to go down again first, because they're just trying to pile up as much as we possibly can before shooting upwards. So I think if we were to go up right now, there might be a possibility that we would come back down, which I wouldn't like to see, but down first, I think would be the more bullish move. And then, yeah, finally, just a lot more to the upside. I do want to bring your attention to something. If I was a little bit more, I was looking at the Lizard People chart during the October 10th liquidation, but if I was a little bit more cognizant and a little bit of aware of the dramatic impact that it makes on price action, I maybe would have seen something like October 10th happen. Look at all the liquidity in this area, and this is only on Binance. So if you go up here, yeah, it's only on Binance. So this isn't even like the total amount of liquidity that's out there. Look at the billions of dollars in this area, and you can see the Lizard People just go zoop, and they eat it all up. So again, just a really good indicator that these people will come for your money, and where the liquidity is where price is going to be magnetized to overall. Let's take a look at Ethereum. So not saying much on the 24-hour. I'm just going to go to the 1 week. Big band at 1650, probable target. Okay, a lot more below, some more short-term pain. Again, it's going to go up in time, guys. I really wouldn't be too concerned. I know our patience is wearing thin, but all the evidence is here. We will be going up in the long term. We just have to maybe flounder around for a little bit. And who knows, maybe it will be until October, where we just have to kind of chop around and wait until we turn the ship around before going up. And then maybe the 4-year cycle people are right. And then we have to throw up our hands and say, you know what? Yeah, you are right. Despite all of the evidence, despite the IWM, despite the PMI, despite the copper to gold, despite continuous money printing, and every other indicator pushing the idea that we're going to go up much sooner. You know what? You are right. Bitcoin moves in 4-year cycles, whatever. We only have a few months left for that to occur anyway. Everyone's anticipating buying in October, which I guess if the herdy people have been right this whole time, whatever, just keep being right, I guess. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me, but whatever. But I digress. We're already close, so just be patient in DCA down. 3 months, a lot ahead, right? I see us getting up to this area pretty easily, maybe resistance pushing up from there. 6 months. Yeah, same thing. Most of it above. Not a lot of inspiration to go lower. Knowing them, they probably will. They'll probably push it to this level, maybe even maybe even freak everybody out again, go here, and then finally push up again. All right, so that's the Lizard People map. Overall, I expect some short-term volatility, probably down, probably sideways. Ultimately, in the long term, I think we're going up. Let's go over some other confluences here. So this is copper to gold ratio. Now, I was in TradingView drawing a bunch of things on here. Like I was putting smiley faces, rocket ships, I was putting text. And when I went to another pane and I went to bring up another chart in a different tab, it started deleting all of my pictures and things like that. So if any of you guys know how I can keep those pictures and keep a lot of my graphics up there even when I bring up the same chart in another tab, I'd really like to know. I do believe I kept this thing on too. But anyways, so this is copper versus gold, and we can see that whenever the copper gold ratio is high, gold being more of a liquidity sink and a flight to safety, copper being more so something that is indicative of innovation and risk and expansion. Copper gold ratio is high. This is the others market cap on the weekly. Crypto is doing well. It dumps, crypto dumps, goes up again. Others doing really well. It even like carried past it a little bit, so it had a little bit of rocket fuel from the copper to gold ratio for a bit and kept climbing, and then dump. And it has been continuously dumpy for, I love my info lines. Let's get some information here. Whoa. Why aren't we doing anything? Info line. Okay, just not letting me do it. We've been pretty dumpy since October of 2021. Just straight down with little brief periods. If anything, others has kind of remained pretty resilient throughout this. Every little push-up has been either just preceded or proceeded by an expansion in altcoins. So here, yeah, nothing even here. Another one here. And then it looks like we're finally bottoming out and perhaps replicating something similar to this. So we have copper to gold ratio in our favor. What else is in our favor for an expansion? PMI, right? So it's a survey of essentially how well the U.S. economy is doing in terms of business productivity and expansion. This was another chart where I drew a bunch of things. Some of them got deleted, but we see in areas where it is high, past, what's the line? This line right here. It's not really telling me what it is. I believe it's like 54, that line is. Of anything above it is expansion. Anything below it is compression. If compression is the right term. But anyway, so we're high above this 54 line, I believe it is, and we're stabilizing or going up above that line. Crypto is doing very well. Again, this is others down here. PMI is going down and or staying flat. Crypto winter for a long period of time. Start going up. Now, this is pretty cool. So it takes a little while for crypto to catch up to the PMI expanding. And I think sometimes we can forget that. So PMI expands, and finally, as it gets really hot, crypto starts following suit. And then what happens is after this dramatic push up, even though PMI is starting to drop a little bit, crypto is still going up. Then for a long period of time, we're going down and to the right, and then we're mega flat for a long period of time. And additionally, crypto is super flat too. But even during these times when we have little spikes up, they are synonymous with little crypto spikes. Even this tiny little upward movement right here, synonymous with a little bit of a move in others. And now it looks like we're finally going to be playing that catch-up period like we did in May of 2020. So PMI is going up strong. We're really not moving yet. We're only getting started. PMI starting to go up pretty strong. We're only getting started. So this gives me a lot of hope that we might just be lagging behind. And as long as we see PMI continuing to go up, as long as we see copper to gold going up, we should be looking pretty good. We have some other gaps that are worth mentioning, and this is why I brought up the beach ball theme. So S&P 500 is doing very well, and in the past it's correlated with Bitcoin's performance. But now we see Bitcoin hanging out well below the S&P 500, and what you could draw from that is either, oh, hey, they've completely decoupled, or This is our beach ball underwater that's about to press up and do a massive run up against the S&P 500. Have we seen this divergence before? We have a little bit. So let's go over some of these times. So back here in November of 2022, we have crypto crashing. We have S&P 500 still going up. Hang out for a little bit, consolidate, finally join it again. Let's see if we can find another period. Right here, they're kind of going down at the same time, but crypto is going down, and then it's kind of consolidating while S&P goes up. And there's some other brief periods of time too, but the only times in recent history when we see S&P 500 broadly outperforming Bitcoin and diverging from it is during Bitcoin bear markets anyhow, excuse me. And it looks like we're seeing that again here. And the divergence looks super big because this is on linear scaling. If I were to go to log scaling, for instance, let's see if I can do this without destroying everything. It looks significantly less small. So it's not so much that it's a true divergence. It's more so that Bitcoin's going through a bear period. And if anything, we're probably going to play catch up to it. So we might actually be a little bit protected even if S&P does a drawdown. So check out this period right here, right? So November of 2022, the S&P starts to draw down, and Bitcoin, interestingly, shows strength into that drawdown and actually closes the gap a little bit. So even in the next few months, so let's say the 4-year cycle people are correct, bottoms in October, whatever, blah, 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 and during that time, S&P actually starts to come down, you might see Bitcoin either stay here or even push up a little bit. It could have been the case that Bitcoin was leading and the stock market's going to come down next, but Bitcoin's either going to stay flat or go up into it. And we do have a little bit of precedent for this. Here's another example. So October of 23, in this area over here, we can see stock market crashing and then Bitcoin going up into it. So that's totally a distinct possibility that might be coming in the next few months. So here's another chart that's often compared. This is the IWM, also known as the Russell 2K, compared to Ethereum. Sorry, I'm having a tough time talking today. And they generally correlate, and right now we have a big separation once again. This only tends to happen once we're sort of in like a down period for crypto. So we can see here in this period from November of 2018 to February of 2020, the IWM is vastly outperforming Ethereum. But what's very interesting is we actually see the IWM crash, and then Ethereum actually holds up and then goes on to outperform the IWM. So again, it might just be the case that Ethereum, Bitcoin, and then perhaps altcoins, they're just leading what's to come, and they've experienced this downward move first. And then once the IWM comes down, they might be also leading the market to the upside. We'll see, time will tell, but I'm leaning that way. Let's see what we have here. We have Bitcoin and then we have gold. So once again, we can see Bitcoin is underperforming gold at this moment, even though gold is coming down right now, which is typically a good sign to see. Once we have gold come down and then stabilize, we actually have Bitcoin and crypto for the most part going up. For example, we have this area from July of 2020. Gold hit its peak, started to come down for the next few months, and then around December of 2020, we have crypto making a massive explosion against gold. Do we have any other circumstances of this? Yeah, kind of in here, just a brief period from August 2017 to October. Gold peaked, coming down, crypto going up. Right, so we'll probably see the same thing here. Again, nothing to be overly concerned about. So we have a lot going in our favor, right? We have liquidity above us on both Bitcoin and Ethereum. We have copper to gold shooting up. We have PMI looking to expand. We have S&P 500 hanging in there. We have IWM hanging in there. We continuously print more money. It debases our currency. Our currency is a thing that we price our assets in. Therefore, they should be going up over time. But we're just simply not seeing that in crypto. So there must be something else going on. Perhaps the fact that Bitcoin and crypto are doing their own thing, which I hate to say it, but it does give the 4-year cycle people at least a little bit of credit. So the question is, are we almost done? Is the pain almost over? Let's go ahead and just do a quick review, because sometimes on days like today where things are red and everything feels very gross, I think it's good to provide some hopium so that we don't make poor decisions based on our emotions, right? There's a difference between hopium in terms of, I think XRP is going to go to $1,000. That's hopium that's not helpful. Hopium that's helpful is something that's going to help you level out your head and your emotions and stay on track with data and help you not to panic sell. That's generally helpful. So I mentioned this in my last video, but this is Bitcoin supply and loss. It is at levels of 10.5 million Bitcoin in loss that we have seen in the deepest of bear cycles in the past. So we see something similar to this, even though not quite as much, in July of 2015. We see it again during the deepest bear of 2019. See it again here in February of 2020. See it down here during FTX, and then finally we have it once again. Notice how some of these lines are thicker, meaning it's kind of stayed in this area for a long period of time and fluctuated a little bit, and then some of the lines are thinner. I'm not sure what's going to be the case here. We might have to do something like this, where we maybe we go up in price a little bit, come back down, we flounder around a bit, and I see this as being a possibility because liquidity still keeps piling below. So I think we might make a couple of attempts to clear out this liquidity before going higher and build up some more above. So it's definitely a possibility that we hang out for a little bit. Not that. Or we could push up because we've met historical levels. Let's look at another one, Bitcoin realized price. So this is a line where we've met this price and even dipped below it for periods of time in the past. We did in 2015 for quite a long period of time. We did it again in 2018. We kissed it in 2020. We hung out briefly below it once again. I mean, not even briefly. We actually hung below it for months. Actually, yeah, about a year, from 2022 to 2023. And then we're close to it again. But I don't think we have to necessarily go under it here, because if we were to do that and get to a level of 53,000, which is what it's at right now, you're going to have more coins in loss than you ever had in history. It's going to be somewhere up here. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And due to the fact that we've had such a muted and a euphoric bull market, I think it's also going to be the case that our bear market is going to be much more of the same. Finally, too, I'm going to take a look at supply and profit as well. Again, I did this in our last video, but if I were to have a curved kind of parabolic line going up here, we're kind of where that curve would be. Kind of same thing up here, right? It's just providing more confidence between our supply and loss, supply and profit. I think I have one more supply and profit on. Yeah, I have one more. So this is Bitcoin short-term holder supply. So your short-term holders, they're going to be the most emotional. They're going to react the most to the market, and they're also going to have the tendency to be the most wrong. So Bitcoin short-term holders like to stack up during euphoric periods at its height. So over here, over here, over here, and then a little bit as we're drawing up during these most recent times. And then what they like to do is the second the price goes down, they dump their Bitcoin, right? Price is going down, dumping their Bitcoin. Price is going down, dumping their Bitcoin. Right now, we're at the lowest level of Bitcoin short-term holders that we've seen since not the bottom of the bear market, but generally close. And this is actually pretty interesting because people are interested in this as it's already starting to go up. So given the fact that when short-term holders are less interested and short-term holders are generally retail and they're generally wrong, given that in the past, the price tends to go up after retail has its lowest interest in crypto, I would see that this is a fairly safe time to start getting bullish on crypto, because these are some of the lowest levels that we've seen not only since 2023 but in ever. So finally, one more thing I want to show you before we kind of close this thing out for today is this is the Bitcoin long-term power law chart. Some of you may have heard of this before. And it's basically these three levels, a fair value gap, a support line, and a resistance line that Bitcoin has respected since its inception, with minor cases such as in the cycle over here, it briefly peaked above it, and it's never peaked below it on the downside. We can see that in the 2021 cycle, we didn't quite meet the resistance band, but nonetheless, in Bitcoin's entire history, it has respected support. Let's kind of take a look at where we're at right now. So our fair price for where we are in this regression, I don't know exactly what you call it, but I'll just call it a regression, right? Is $167,000. And our historical floor price is only a few $1,000s beneath us at $59,000. If this were to stay respected, which it has for the entirety of Bitcoin's history, guess what? We're not going much lower. Even if we were to get back to the line, $167,000, that's crazy. And when we've gone up in the past, we've never just gone to the line. We've always gone well above the line. Even if we were to just make this little peak right here and poke above this much, I want to say this was 2019, that would put Bitcoin at like $240,000, $250,000. And look at the cycle top band if we were to get there, $587,000. So if you're feeling bearish right now, you don't really have a lot of historical precedent to back that up. If anything, we need to be very bullish at these times because we are extremely close to the floor, and it's only spent 2.5% of its existence below where it is in terms of the support price. So I don't think you could technically have a much better buy opportunity than you do now, and that's only come around in very tiny periods throughout history. So should we be sad at this point? No, we've already endured much of the pain. This is a time to get excited. This is your time to be a super bull, at least in my opinion. Let's look at some other things. So I have a Bollinger Band on here. I'm on linear. This is Bitcoin on the monthly, and we have our simple moving average. No, not our simple moving average. Well, yeah, our 20-week simple moving average, whatever. And 200 simple moving averages down here. So in every cycle, Bitcoin likes to check in with or dip below the 200-week moving average. It's a little bit confusing with the Bollinger Band there too, but whatever. So it did in 2018, 2019, poked below it briefly in 2020, dipped below it for quite a bit in 2023, and then finally we're kissing it again here. Not only are we kissing the 200-week moving average and we actually dipped briefly below it, we also just touched the lower Bollinger Band, which has only been done only a couple times in history, right? We've actually done it back here in June of 2022, and only a few months after that, we saw an explosive run up. I want to say, even though it's super duper tiny, we did it back here as well. Massive run up. We just touched the Bollinger Band again, and we're at the 200-week moving average, which has historically been a place where Bitcoin has bounced from. And we are well supported by the power law. We're probably heading up, guys. There probably isn't a whole lot pain left. Again, the only thing I could see is maybe a sideways chop for a few more months. Let's check out others. So kind of a similar story with others as well. So I showed you in my last video, and I'll just draw it again because I think it's worth. Do I have it here? No, this is one of the drawings that, this is one of the drawings that frickin' TradingView deleted. But if we go from the top of the 2021 cycle to where Bitcoin started going up, like in here, 546 days, this is where we started to turn things around. Let's go over here again, peak of 2024. Interesting too, I showed this in my last video as well. The peak of the altcoins for 2024, it was also Bitcoin to gold's high this cycle. So Bitcoin made another dollar high, but it did not make another Bitcoin gold high. So that can be that can be one of the reasons as well as why we haven't really seen any altcoin movement or just altcoin straight down since this point. And with Bitcoin to gold ratio actually going up recently, we might see some more action. Hold on, just need to move this. Nope. You go away. You go away. Let's go back here. Here we go, 547 days, right? So time-wise, we're actually already at a low point where we can expect to, if things behave similarly to the last cycle, we can actually start to turn the ship around and then explode upward. So that's very convincing, especially since last time we touched the lower Bollinger Band was in February of 2020, and what came next was a massive explosion to the upside in the following years to come. We just did it over here. We almost did it again here. And we can just turn this thing around and start heading up. Looks like it might happen again. You've been so patient to this point. 547 days since the peak of the 2024, early 2025 high. Don't sell out now. This is where you win. This is where people, they've already given up. They've already written off crypto. But this is where you win. And I'm predicting that we're going to go up massively from here. Where could it go? Let's try a little fib. Why not? And let's do a little scrolleroo. If you're going to let me. Do I have to go over here? Come on. No. Why isn't it letting me scroll up? No. Okay. Anyways, I have been a mess today. I do apologize. TradingView's not been my friend, but I think it's going to go around like $8 billion to $1 trillion. I think there's some sort of fib level up there. I don't know, whatever. Finally, Bitcoin dominance. This is one of the reasons why we haven't really seen a cycle either. Hasn't dropped yet. It's looking weak. The moving average of the RSI is going down over time. And historically, when this line crosses downwards from the top of it, we see Bitcoin dominance going down quite a bit. So, I mean, that's really that for today. So, case in point, I'm going to go over some alts in a second. But we have blood in the streets. Ridiculously stupid low prices and everything. Lots of fear. Okay. Lizard people liquidity rests above. Everything is lining up for us. We're just kind of that beach ball, right? We're deep in the water. We haven't popped out yet. We haven't caught up to IWM, copper versus gold. We haven't caught up to the PMI, right? But historically, there's always been a little bit of delay and a little bit of underperformance during Bitcoin's weak period. So we're just waiting for that. I don't think anyone took a knife to that beach ball. It's about to pop back up. We have evidences bottoming for BTC, bottoming for others, right? The 547 days from the top to the point where we started upward movement. We had that in our last cycle. We're already there now. And I really love this power law showing that we're historically right near the bottom. And again, it's never been wrong to this point. So that's really it. Let's do a couple of altcoins like individually just to show that this bear market it's probably already over, and we're probably just trying to flatten out and wait for an expansionary move, right? We're turning the cruise ship around. So it's a cruise ship. It's not a tugboat. It might take quite a while. And Bitcoin. Gold just keeps dumping, right? So let's take a coin. So let's go to Uniswap. I like Uniswap. Let's take our TradingView. And we're just going to simply take 2024 highs. And we're going to measure to the bottom. Okay, so here. That's an 84% move. When something's usually down 84%, you can safely say that you went through a bear market. Let's see. Let's go market cap. Okay, here we go. Kind of an inflationary coin too. Doesn't mean it can't do well, but I don't like to see that. Let's go here to here. Again, 83% down. Let's just compare it to the last. We can't really do that because, oh, well, market cap. Yeah, I guess we could. Let's go info line again. Because ICP had a pretty, I don't want to say criminal launch, but a sus launch. Yeah, 93%. Yeah, so we're pretty much already there. Let's take a look at a few others. Let's go render. I really like render too because it's 2024 high. Let's go market cap. Yeah, it's 2024 high. It's significantly higher than its 2021 high. Yeah, we're on the monthly. So we'll go like this. %. Let's do a few more. Let's do a bigger one. Let's do XRP. What is that? Can't even see it. Move over. Get out of here. Yeah, 69%. So it's just so funny that the majority of people, they're like super interested in crypto when it's up here, and they don't give a shit when it's down here. You want to buy your favorite clothes when they're on sale. You want to buy your groceries when they're on sale. You want stuff for cheap, right? You don't want expensive things. You want to simply sell low. You want to buy low, excuse me. Buy high, sell low. Yeah, that's what most people do, right? You want to buy low, sell high. Let's do one more. Let's do a cash. I'm a big fan of a cash. I think it's going to do great. Let's go like this, and let's go 2024 peak to, we'll hit the bottom for this one. Holy smokes, 96% down. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And also performing really nicely as of late. Extremely volatile, but I think it's going to do well. So, guys, that's it. Keep your head up. When you look at these altcoins and their prices, as long as they're not completely dead, and I went over how to pick out good altcoins, at least by my rules in the other video, as long as your coin is showing decent strength, it's done well in the past when altcoins have done well. It's done poorly. It's been struggling when other altcoins struggle. And you see some momentum there. You're getting really excellent discount deals on decent projects. So that's it for me. Have a good one, guys. Peace out. See you in the next one.